Welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live high above the keep in the hot air balloon. Tonight, as always, I have Neindorf with me. Neindorf, how you doing?
Feeling amped up after that intro, I tell you what.
Oh yeah, it gets me going every time. Gets the people going.
Sure
Um,
does.
it's provocative. All right, so let's just jump right in. We got a good one for you guys tonight. So, question of the day: where are we at?
Well, I said it, it gets you amped, but maybe a more appropriate word. I mean, can you think of a more appropriate word? I think that's my question.
Does it?
Gee,
Hmm. Does it power you up?
maybe it's a power up. I think it is.
Yeah. There you
Uh,
go. Awesome. Okay, so we had our typical standard cadence development meeting with the Kingdom Studios team. We try to squeeze those in about every 2 weeks. Good thing too because they're building and we're going to need to pivot a little bit. I think we can. There's a lot of exciting things here, but let's start with kind of what's your feedback from the meeting today?
yeah, I mean, I think it was good. We got a lot of good info. I think the big thing is Hubert knows what he's doing, and he's doing a lot of things. I think we learn a lot from him every time we talk with him, which is really cool. And then we also learn maybe some things that maybe we should shy away from because, hey, I don't want to get in that man's way. He's going places.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, I'm really excited that we're at the point now where we're able to get a little bit of insight into, trying to develop towards the future and, build some items in there. And, we're trying to also make sure that we are not duplicating our resources. And I think this is probably about as far as I'll go with sharing things tonight, but we are not going to focus on our tournament organization site anymore. That's one thing that through working with the team, it's apparent that it's really important to them. One, and then two, they Hubert actually himself has a lot of ideas and has this concept developed, and he's working on bringing it to life now. And it doesn't make sense for us to, we really want to run in parallel with the team. And they've never told us like don't build this or don't build that. But we're just part time guys, trying to help create tools that are useful for the community. And we don't want to make a tool that's going to be rendered useless after a while. So we are no longer building a tournament organizer.
I think you nailed it, and that's the important thing to note again is that this isn't anything they told us to do. It's just kind of as we learn more about their long-term plan with our limited resources and time, we kind of need to pick our path carefully, I think. So all good things, nothing bad, anybody. Just make sure we're not spreading FUD in any sense of the matter. Exactly the opposite, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it was yeah, I totally agree with you. It has me feeling powered up myself. Um, so let's talk anything else. Well, yeah, we have a whole bunch of dev dive stuff that we are working on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why don't you drop some alpha for Kingdom for excuse me, Kingdom Studios ADFK. What are you building for the website there?
Yeah, so the recent releases that we've come out with, we've added the columns to the market data page, which is really cool because basically what it does is it reports the current total supply of that item on that realm. So it kind of allows us to see, hey, here's the prices and here's the total supply of that token, not in the liquidity pools, but the actual total supply of that token in that contract. So it'll be useful if people kind of get used to what those numbers look like. I think looking back at the history of the total volumes of some of these tokens, maybe this data can help people predict things like tier prices just going crazy because oh wait, hold on a second, guys, the total supply is just plummeting all of a sudden. So that's a pretty cool one. The other one I think I'll let you talk to, but it's letting you put some words on the page.
Yeah, really excited about this, and we are starting up a blog over on ADFK. So go check this out. I wrote our first piece, and we're going to start opening this up to community contributions. I think fully admitting here that our website's still very utilitarian, as we like to call it,
Yeah.
endearingly so. Um, and so right now, if you have something that you want to post, one, you have to do all the editing yourself. Two, send us that information, and it'll take us a little bit, but we'll get it up on page. We actually have a dream of how do we make this more of a community-based program. And so one of the things that we'd like to do is as we start to build out more blogs, we could eventually get ads over on the right hand side, and we're actually looking at an ad sharing kind of a program for sharing that ad revenue with other authors that would want to put their stuff on our website. So we're trying to continue to build the number one stop shop for you guys when you're playing DeFi Kingdoms. Whether you want to come here to look at your heroes or whether you want to come read about the blog, it's fundamentally clear from our development meetings with the team and our own kind of power meetings between Neindorf and myself that we are here to present and promote data and the game. Like that's our core feature. So hopefully that gives you maybe a little bit of insight into where we're going next. So yeah, that's the combat considerations. Neindorf, you started using this AI image generator, right?
Yeah. So a lot of stuff going around nowadays. It's really awesome. I think this one was shoot, now the name is escaping me. I have it up. Stable Fusion, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, you can put in some text and it'll generate an image. And as you learned, it's not the easiest thing to basically stable diffusion, sorry, to
Yeah.
plumb in, but you give it a few tries and eventually you can get it to kick out some pretty killer images.
Yeah, I was doing some research on it, and I wasn't properly using the negative prompts as well as I
Ah,
I could
like
have
you
or
got to
should
put
have.
the one in there that's like ugly. Like I don't want ugly, I
Yeah, I
guess.
don't want ugly. I don't want like disfiguration. I don't all these
uh,
odd things. So, um, yeah. Anything else on Dev Dive, and then let's talk about the combat considerations article.
yeah, shout out to Skillet. He's been helping a lot with some of the market data, and I think the next thing that we're kind of looking at is somewhat in line with some of the stuff that Stronghold on Expert does, where we want to have a page that's unique for each item. And right now, like I said, we just added total supply. I'm envisioning a page in the future for each item where you can see their total supply histories. So stay tuned for that. Um, we're also starting to put some I'll say light guild services features in. We'll expand on that more in the future. That just kind of got started on that, so stay tuned for a little bit more there too.
Yeah, and Vibes really dropping some awesome chat here, going on trying to message him. Yeah, it's been interesting using the stable diffusion. He said he's been doing it for his website too. And a big thank you to Skillet. Sent a little something something his way, a little hero, as
Very nice.
a thanks for helping us out. But want to give him a formal shout out. We're a team of three, and Vibes is actually asking about this too. Like, wondered how the two of you are working together and understanding who's doing what, how, and when. Um, yeah, it's a small stop shop here, and so I'm an industrial engineer by trade. Neindorf, electrical engineer by trade, and is doing all the heavy lifting on the website right now. And you're working with Skillet, someone that you know from your professional career, who is also a electrical engineer or computer engineer by trade too. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, yeah, yep. Computer software engineers. Yep, he's been my mentor for probably about a decade now. So he's teaching me a thing or two, and we're kind of learning together. Him and I hadn't really ever gotten into anything coding related to blockchain before this, so it's kind of been a real cool learning experience for both of us.
Yeah. So I try to help out with the podcast production, a little bit of data analytics here and there, any kind of writing proposals, trying to coordinate events with the Kingdom Studios team, that kind of thing. So,
Herding of
um,
the cats.
Herding of the Cats, yes, that's my favorite job title. Yeah,
uh,
it's awesome. We've been working together now. Well, we're roommates in college, um,
right?
And then I've been working together in DeFi Kingdom Studio since you got me hooked like October of was that last year?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so or no, 2 years ago technically.
Yeah, yeah, two
Yeah,
Octobers ago,
year and
right?
a half ago. Okay, combat considerations. So I wrote up we talked about this a little bit on the last podcast, and so sorry if we're going into a bit of a repeat, but I really want to start hammering in on these points, and we got a lot of fun conversation going on this. So I'm thinking about heroes and how do we organize our teams as thinking about it like a four-legged stool. And so you want to have balance in the approach that you're taking. And with your 3v3 team, there are four legs to that stool. The first one is hero stats, then there's equipment, traits, and combat skills, aka abilities. My goal is to start to outline and start doing some analysis on each of these legs and present kind of my argument to you, our community out there, what I feel are the important aspects of this leg of the stool, and how I see it growing, and also trying to highlight where we might be speculating there being like delta between current and future values. I think that's something that is pretty important to take a peek at. So the first one is hero stats, and one of the things that a concept that you and I have been talking about is, it is a great equalizer when it comes to heroes. You have, heroes that have a lot of luck with level up and they're getting 9s, 10s, 12s. You have heroes that are mythics and every 5 levels they get a boost. You have heroes that are advanced classes. And then you have heroes where you're using crystals or stones to end up boosting their stats. At the end of the day, a naked hero is nothing more than its stats. And I venture to kind of bet with this that, a Dread Knight might have slightly better abilities, but for the most part, if you have a really well statted up basic hero, I think they're going to compete against a Dread Knight that's had reasonable stat level ups. If their stats are similar, I think they're going to compete on a very similar playing field.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I don't think the team will build a skill tree for any specific class that is just lights out and a must-have to win. That's just not really how they do things. So I totally feel you're right. I think you purchase or acquire or summon a Dread Knight because you're looking for that extra stat gain for every level to combine with perhaps a better rarity if you can, afford it or get lucky with the roll. So I think that's it, and I think we've also kind of conjectured that, wild speculation, of course, that the level cap at 20 might stay for a while.
Yeah.
So imagine if we get it with these boosts and XP from these power ups and whatnot, that these heroes, a lot of heroes are going to catch up to 20. Now, sure, a level 20 mythic Dread Knight's going to have a lot more potential stats if he rolls normally, but you could be surprised. There could be some rares that get really good level ups in the right place, or just have, those 14 point, level 13 level ups. So
Yeah.
I think you're gonna see a lot of interesting things. Plus, there's a lot more rares out there that the odds are gonna be in their favor that there's gonna be a few rare monsters, if you know what I
And
mean.
exactly. There's still some PJ heroes hanging around, and
Oh yeah,
I think that
that's
this
true.
is I think you're spot on, and this is where I want to start to do some data analysis with Power BI and start looking at, are there rare heroes out there that actually have beaten the system, beaten the odds, so to speak, and get them ready for the future of combat. So let's go
Yeah, and
to.
I think
Go ahead.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead. We do have a lot of topics. We should probably keep going.
Yeah, all right. So equipment's next, and there's a lot we don't know about equipment. The only equipment that's out right now are pets. But then pets are kind of cyclically feeding into the next set of equipment because they give you bonuses on crafting. And we know that crafting will ultimately allow you to create equipment too. Something else that I know in talking with Hubert is what we've been talking about for a long time, that HP is one of those stats that it does kind of run away. And I think that's where, where stats could be equal on all heroes. I think that will favor heroes that go after vitality or mana for that matter. When vitality keeps growing at an exponential rate, you need something to combat that. And I think that weapons they're going to try to make be the equalizer, where once you get 40 strength, you can wield this weapon that does more damage, keeps you in the game, so to speak. And then I think that they're adding in degree of difficulty as another way to combat health. But yeah, equipment, I think it's going to be important, but probably going to be the weak. It's hard to say. I think pets will play a role, but what role will pets play in terms of the total equipment leg of the stool? Are they half? Are they 25%? Are they a third? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's tough. I can't see it being well. So okay, I'll back up a quick step. I think it depends on how much equipment a hero wears, how many individual pieces, right? This is something I haven't heard many people talk about. But are we talking about a game like Skyrim, where you have the boots, the greaves, the chest piece, the arms, the helmet? Like, do you have to have all of that equipment for heroes, or is it just here's your armor, here's your sword?
If there's anything we
So
know about Hubert, and this is not alpha, this is just pure speculation, but he goes deep. You
he
know,
does. I I'm gonna say it's somewhere in the middle. Like maybe you need three pieces of armor, or maybe it's two pieces of armor and a ring or amulet and a sword. So if that's the case, I can't see a pet being more important than your chest piece, say. You know,
hmm.
I
So
have a hard time. I have a hard time seeing that.
so that's kind of taking it kind of far if you think about it from a percentage perspective. I mean, you're saying that there's four pieces, the pet's one of them, and it's not a greater than the rest of them. Like, I think some people would say, like, pets will be 50%, and then the other 50% will be a breakdown of each of those armor pieces. So, I
True.
and I'm not
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
could very well
disagreeing with
be.
you. This is exactly what I wanted to highlight in this conversation. And I actually think that there's an opportunity for value to swing here. Um, I would say that I agree with you. I think pets are probably overvalued in the scheme of things. Now, with that said, and here's the giant caveat, is that when PvP releases, we're probably not going to have amulets. We're probably not going to have swords. We're probably not going to have helms and chest pieces or shields. We are going to have pets. And so at first, they're going to be 100% of that leg of the stool. But I think over time, they're going to decrease in value.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Without any artwork that we know of, even in the works for
Mm-hmm.
equipment, I think you're right. Yeah, it's going to be a while. And then circling back to the original equipment question too, we know it's going to have an effect on stats, right? Like there's going to be accuracy, dexterity sorts of modifiers from your equipment. So I think equipment is going to be very important as far as it's is the leg of the stool.
Yeah, yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, so then we have traits. And I've been kind of going back and forth on do they warrant their own leg? And these are your genetic traits on the back of the card that now have they were your active one, active two, passive one, passive two. They're now called the traits. And they were dropped on Christmas Day. I think that they are going to be strong enough to warrant their own leg of the stool. And the reason I say that is because they have an entire mutation tree dedicated to them. Um, and when you look at some of those transcendent abilities, they're going to be really good. Even the elite abilities are going to be really good. And you see how some of those elite abilities pair well with heroes' other abilities. Like the warrior, for example, has a skill that procs based on an enemy being stunned. And I think there's a few other status effects. And so I think these status effects that are coming from these abilities are going to end up playing into the skills too. So I think this could be the weakest leg of the stool, but at the same time, I think it's going to be pretty worthwhile.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we've been treating it as one of the most important legs because it's kind of that new, exciting, fun thing that's in the genes. We have the ability to play that game right now, if you will. Um, I do kind of agree with you. I think a lot of them are very situational and they're more or less one shot, one usage. So I don't think that you're never, so you have two actives and two passives. I think it's highly likely that you could have a battle go on where you get to only use one or two from all three of your heroes
Mm-hmm.
just because of how it goes. I think they will be important and they could be key and vital to certain strategies. But I'm kind of the mind that even the skills of these heroes are going to be key to strategy. So I don't think they are the end all be all
Right.
either.
And then last, you have your entire combat tree, your combat skills, also known as the abilities, and these, also the synergy that these have with each of the three characters. I hope this is the most powerful leg of the stool by a long shot, and I think many people are. I think this allows for the opportunity of skill to be interjected into the game and for a meta to develop. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you're right. It's one skill on one hero alone is okay. Another hero with a complementary skill or ability could be great, and a third complementary, it could be amazing. It's like there's a magnification effect, I feel like.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is that I I'm not even gonna care about subclass. I think for a really long time, even with the power ups coming on to get more experience. When are we gonna hit level 100? Candidly, what's it gonna be? A year away? Is that too early? There's no way
Yeah,
we're hitting level 100 by the end of this year. Not a
no,
chance.
not a chance.
Not even a year from now, which is not much. 13 months
I'd
from
say
now.
it could be like 3 to 5 years, to be honest with you. Because if you think about it, I think there will be, this is pure wild speculation, of course, huge events like PJ style events every 20 level where something gigantic in the game is going to happen every 20 levels.
Some
And I think,
fun PVE stuff happening. Like,
yes,
hey, yeah, the Kraken from the PJ, he made landfall.
and
He's
they're going to want
yeah.
everybody to catch up. It's like Seasons of Destiny. Like people play that a lot, where you want everybody to get caught up to the end, and then everybody's like, oh, we can take a collective breather, and then here comes more new content. So I think there will be a cyclical, cycle like that. Maybe it's not 20 levels, maybe 10 levels. I mean, it depends on, how aggressive the team is in content generation for PvE, I would say.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, let's have some fun with chat here. I'm gonna say 2.5 years. Are you taking the over, or the under, and then chat say over or under on 2.5 years? And then what I'll do, and you guys got to hold me accountable to this. We'll talk about it a little later in the podcast. But we're going to Minnesota. Or I'm going to Minnesota. I know you got a family thing going on, but I'm going to Minnesota here in March, and so I'll pin them down like Crypto Grady says, like the butterfly on the pin board. I'll pin them down and say when we hit level 100. So yeah, 2.5 years over or under. What do you got?
For me,
Yep.
oh, easily over.
Oh man, we are getting overs all over the place. Larry Binance, Worm, Vibes, Jeremy, Eric Sear, Crypto Keith, everyone. We got the over train rocket. I should have set that at 3 years. All right.
Honestly, I don't know what years you would have specified. I probably
iOS
still would have
code.
said over.
iOS code says 10 years.
Uh,
That's you crack me up.
no, they're going to introduce old age into heroes before we get there.
Yeah, my hero has a beard. It
It's turning
wasn't
gray.
wasn't there when he started.
Uh,
Oh wow, no one is taking the under. I thought I was dropping a provocative over under.
uh,
Um, that's
we got to
fine.
get practiced up before esports if we're doing betting now.
Absolutely. 4 years over under says Worm.
Uh,
Takes 10 months to get to level 10. I think the one thing is that they've talked about combat accelerating the experience scale. And okay, so let's break this down. Let's have some fun with this. Um,
sure, why not?
they release 10 levels at a time. I think there's no reason to believe that they would change that perspective. And I actually think that fast offering the opportunity to much faster than you're able to achieve 10 to 20 right now is actually really healthy for the game. I actually think that you will build a very uncompetitive game if you don't enhance or allow for the ability to get to level 20 in a reasonable period of time. Like right now, like if you're auto questing on a bot, you are at best level 14, right?
I only have a hero at level 13,
Okay,
so
yeah.
I don't even
Okay,
think
yeah,
you're
so I
there yet.
take that back. Yeah, it's probably 13, which just shows you like how steep the level curves are right now and how poor the experience gain is right now. And how long has level 20 been out? It's been out since the release of Crystal Vale, right?
I
Or
believe.
no, it was right
I can't
after
even
that. It was
remember.
with the training quests.
Yes, yeah, when the Moksha runes started coming
Yeah,
out.
so I mean, here's the thing: heroes with higher stats, they are going to rule the combat. And this game, as we've talked about in other podcasts, they are trying to find that balance between, being a pay to earn game, which it is. It's in the crypto space. It's Web3. So if you put money in, you have to be able to gain value out of your hero, with also being able to grind it out and just fitting the standard, building a strong game style mindset that they're also trying to do. And the balance of that is you have to be able to gain experience at a reasonable rate. People that really want to pay for it, you have to be able to jump to the front of the line, so to speak, get that fast pass. Um, but and so they have to find the balance of that. Right now, it's taking way too long. I mean, the release of Training Quest was months and months and months ago. I think they're going to get into like eventually like okay, and maybe this is like feeding into iOS codes 10 years away, but if they released 10 levels every 6 months, like I'm just thinking on the fly here now. All right,
Yeah,
so like let's break this down. If they release 10 levels every 6 months, I mean that's 5 more years.
right. And 6 months seems really short for a cycle. If they're generating a whole bunch of in-game content.
I
Like think how long
think
it takes a video game to come out with a new season. I mean, maybe
yeah.
maybe that's realistic. Actually, I think it's either a little aggressive or some are realistic. I don't think it's going to be shorter than that. That's my vote.
Okay, so if you could gain 10 levels in 1 month, then I think you would really upset people that are wanting to pay to upgrade, because it's like you can buy no advantage in the game at that point with stamp pots. Like
True.
if you
That's a
can
good
if
way
you
of
can get
thinking
there,
of it.
and then if it's a year, then everyone else, like the minnows in the game like us, are going to be irate because we can't compete. Like we're not going to stamp out all of our heroes. Like that is absolutely insane and ridiculous for it to take a year. And right now we are on the pace for it even being longer than a year. So I think
Right.
like somewhere between 3 and 6 months, and maybe I'm thinking a little faster in my head, but it's probably going to be around 6 months. Um, and the caveat to that is, I think they have confirmed that they're going to create features that allow people to catch up faster, which is just smart. I mean, all games do that. Um, where getting once you unlock level 30, well, the 1 through 20 experience points are going to be a lot easier to obtain in game. I think that makes sense. Um,
Yeah, that is pretty typical. You're right.
so, okay, this was a fun exercise. Vibe saying 5 years. Well, all right. So yeah, let's move on. We got a lot a lot more to talk
Oh,
about.
good, fun stuff though. And I hadn't actually ever run through that in my head, so that's actually a really good exercise, I think.
Yeah. All right. So Wisdom Gaming in real life raid. We have a date set now. It is March 6th and 7th. I'm going to be there, and I believe a couple other members from the ADFK Guild are going to be there, trying to work out our travel plans for that. Unfortunately, Neindorf, you couldn't make it. Like we ended up falling into the one day, like any time in February would have worked for you, and any other time in March would have worked for you. It was the one week that did not. I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got a Gen 1 that has to have more of a routine surgery, but surgery is surgery. So
Absolutely, yeah. Well, best of luck to both of you, and um, yeah, we'll hold down the fort and head up there, perform our in real life raid. So if you're interested in going, I'm going to be driving up. I think Crypto Grady is going to meet me at some point and also drive up. And it's going to be a conglomeration. We're going to have the Kingdom Studios team there, and we're going to have the Wisdom Labs team there. So I know Hubert's going, Bolon's going, Risen, and I want to say I can't remember who else. Bolon gave me a list. They are sending like the A team, like their game team there. And now this is reckless speculation. Like I've been struggling to just get a date set. So like that's all the actual information that I have. How close is, this trip of March 6th and 7th to the release of PvP? What would you say?
I think put it this way, if the team is planning a visit up to Wisdom Games, it's got to be pretty close. I think it would maybe be like, some a little bit of hands-on with an alpha of the product right before it goes, or maybe it's even a beta of the product. I personally think that means it's really close once they arrive.
I'm really hoping so. There's a part of me that still thinks like May, like early summer release date for PvP, which is in respect close. It's exactly what you
Right.
said. But, in crypto terms, like people think in terms of days instead of weeks.
Right.
So I think that's kind of fun to speculate on. And Workhorse has mentioned on Twitter that he wants to get people to be testers for the game as well. So I think that my big hope, my stretch goal is that like we can actually watch like combat, like a system, like an alpha test of a
That
system
would be
that's
pretty
happening.
awesome.
We could actually do that. Like I think then that's my moonshot goal, and I think that's why I know Maddie really wants to go. So we'll see from the Bogside crew, and I think he wants to be an alpha tester. So I think
No,
that's why
no
he's going.
way.
Yeah, right. No way. So join us. I think you got a good chance of jumping onto the alpha testing squad. I don't know. I'm totally uh, railroading Workhorse here and getting us all signed up for alpha testing. Um, but I'm really looking forward to going. All right. And Worm's saying, I think PvP will only be basic heroes. Maddie's lulzing in chat right now. I kind of threw that out there. Like, what if they release only basic? And I was thinking that Worm, a few months ago, and now I'm thinking probably not, but we'll see. It's a
Yeah, it's
lot of
tough.
hero.
I
It's a
mean,
lot of hero classes to release all at
it
once.
is. And I thought I heard somewhere that maybe it wouldn't be the most recently released ones. Might have been pure speculation, though, of course, because there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next topic. We got it. So while we're getting really excited about the in-game version of combat, we got an amazing tournament going on right now. Our very own Fight Club. So why don't you kind of walk us through what's happening with that tournament?
Yeah, so I think we ended up with it was like 84 people signed up, which was amazing. But
Highest
it
ever.
was it was a lot of friends and guy kid and I we were kind of freaking out a little bit because we're like, how do we make a bracket with this? And so we got it down to where a few people dropped and naturally, and then a couple of us dropped off so that we could get it down to I believe it was 80 is where we landed.
Mm-hmm.
So really awesome to have that many people excited. I mean, I've been kind of busy with work and other things, but I've been checking the Discord for Fight Club, and there's just so much. Like I check it, and like everything's got like pages of text and talking. So I'm like, it is really awesome to see people excited about Fight Club, and you combine that with some of the other stuff that you know that's going on there too. It's a great time right now.
So we actually have a battle going on right now between our very own Tad and Kills. I think this is This is game two. So, uh, yeah, we're only 4 minutes behind. So I think that's enough time to catch up. You want to jump in on and joining my screen or looking at my screen share, and
Yes,
we'll
I
walk through
will.
this.
I'll pop on.
All right. So first thing before we start the combat here, let's look at a hero analysis on Tad's side. On the front line, he's got a ninja, and he's got a dragoon as that secondary class. Mid class
Thing.
or mid tier, he's got wizard, and he's got a paladin. So
Okay.
those are some heavy duty subclasses there. And in the back, he's got a ninja wizard. I was thinking about when I was gearing up my team, I was going to have two ninjas as well, and maybe a thief instead of a wizard. But really excited to see how the wizard plays out. And then over on Kels' side, we got we got a Dark Knight up front. Those can always be buffed. I'm okay with that. We got a Sage in
Yep.
the middle, and we have a Paladin Priest in the back. All right,
Okay.
so let's watch turn one. We got Fireball. So I think that's a Tad. He threatens with those 0 meter cost skills. He's got Fireball from the midline and Misiasuma Bomb from the second line.
Yep. And then that fire's gonna keep hitting too. That just ate me alive last game.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
All
Whoa.
right. So he used a blitz. Tad used a blitz, and Kells used a lightning blast, which that does a lot of damage, and that must be a level 1 or a level 2 wizard in the back. Must be a level 1 wizard. All right, let's check out
Yeah,
turn
he
four.
swapped turns. Yeah, that's I like that.
Well, that was the blitz that caused him to
Right,
swap.
right.
Yeah.
That's in from that hero, you got like you said, you got to watch those subclasses sometimes.
Yeah, so let's watch this again. Used Amicia. I cannot say this. How do you pronounce it?
Mazma, I believe.
Miasma? Miasma bomb?
I
All right.
think it's Mazma or Misma. I
Masema.
don't know.
Got a chain lightning going on. Summoners need a buff. All right.
Look at that.
Go to turn 4 here.
Everybody's avoiding the death so far.
All right, so we got another big fireball dropping. And a big
Oof.
attack. Yeah, and I would
It's
say
still
right.
pretty close.
Yeah, that fireball effect is pretty big. Yeah, I would agree it's pretty close. Except for meter here, and I think that's going to start to play in Tad's favor a lot.
Sure. Yeah, just 1 meter in at this weight class is pretty vital.
Yeah. Ooh, a position swap here.
Okay, avoid the death
A chain lightning.
and a kill.
Okay.
Ooh,
So we got a lot of status effects. And remember, burning does
ooh,
affect you when you're outside of the front line now. That was a change, and that sage is
wow.
barely alive and threatening now. Um, so
Does the stage still have a burn left? So it'll probably die after this round, right?
the sage does have a burn left, so it will die after this round.
That makes you wonder if do you try to interrupt that here if there's a skill ready? I wasn't watching if it has cooldown or not, but that might be.
Oh,
Ooh,
he interrupted the vendetta, which was a great call. And that's
oof, but that level,
that
yeah.
that fire is gonna tick, and he's gonna come
Ooh,
down. Okay, this is interesting. Let's see how this plays out.
yeah, and another, yeah, fireball at low levels is just beastly.
And that paladin's he's yoked. So let's see what he can do. Poison came in, and
What
there
was the
are
sub on the paladin? Do you
the
remember offhand?
priests. Yeah,
Okay, interesting. Could possibly figure in.
and that's what he
Yep.
did. He did a heal. Whoo! That ninja hits hard with the poison there. 2 stacks left on the poison. So that's gonna continue to slap really hard.
So that basically was a wash that round, honestly.
Yeah, that's 60 damage.
Ooh, ooh, fireball.
Retribution. Oh yeah,
Ooh.
that is game over for Kells. And Ted takes it. All right, so
Very
that
well
that was
done.
game two. Um, so we got some really exciting things going on with Fight Club. Obviously, we have this massive tournament. We have speed tournaments now going on. Do you want to give kind of a quick overview on how do you join a speed tournament and what are they?
Yeah, absolutely. So um, they're just purely Discord based, and you'll see some notifications if you're signed up for those statuses, I believe. And then effectively, what happens is you using the in-game Fight Club buttons, you basically sign up. You play your opponent as the bracket you're showing. You know, you kind of when it's your turn, it'll automatically launch your battle, and it's kind of cool because it's a relatively quick pace thing. I think it's like what hour and a half at most usually. And if you happen to not show up, your heroes auto play, you know, so you don't have to worry about that. And it's really cool to see. And he's even got it so that you know it's automatically doing payouts for the winners. So it's a really cool, pretty well buttoned up little feature that Connex threw out for us. So we've been enjoying that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want competition for 2 hours straight, I mean, this is what you go to. This will keep you busy, and I love how just streamlined it is when you want to play. So jump into chat. We have speed tournaments going on a lot, but that's not everything that we're building in Fight Club right now. We
Right.
also dropped a brand new announcement, uh, and this is doing the infinite. Let's jump over here to patch notes.
Yeah, there you
Infinite
go.
infinite dungeons. Really excited about that. We have so many ways that we can continue to grow and develop dungeons, and we're planning on doing PVE and being that one-stop shop for PVE and PvP as long as we can. Um, really excited about this. So, what's an infinite dungeon? Do you want to give us a breakdown?
Yeah, so basically, you bring a few items, a few potions with you. I believe that's out, right? That's what
Yep,
this
yep.
announcement
That's
says.
out with this.
Yep,
Up
that's
to five.
awesome.
Up
And
to five.
oof, wow, so you could that actually significantly helps you get further.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, yeah, you bring your heroes. You're fighting through the map, if you will, and you're gonna encounter enemies, and you have to then go into a Fight Club style match against them. The cool part though is your health now carries over. So if you've lost, you know, a half your health on your first hero and you know some amount on your second, that next time you run into baddies, that's where you're gonna take off. You know, and you'll have the ability to use those potions to replenish health. With the idea being that you're trying to get to the chests in your current level, and you're trying to make it all the way through your current level so that you can progress to the next level. So it's a really cool it's a cool way. I love how he did it, where he had a game that is Fight Club. He and added a concept on top of it that leveraged the existing strength of Fight Club and the skills that we're all kind of getting used to and starting to master. So I think this is well done, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and the way that we're structuring the infinite dungeons to make it kind of gamified is that we're trying to track people's scores every 12 hours. And you go in, and we're trying to see who can get the farthest, like how many, your overall score at the end of the infinite dungeon, like how far have you gotten, how many chests have you gotten, and how many baddies have you beat. And whoever has the highest score after every 12 hours, you get a pot of crystal. And in addition to that, we also are going to be distributing, we're going to be doing a crystal raffle that'll run every 2 hours. And that you get points for just participating inside the infinite dungeon. And so if you get like an early win inside the 2 hours and no one else has that many points racked up, you can be winning a bunch of those raffles. And this is being paid by our marketing fund for doing this. And we're really trying to generate a lot of excitement. Help me put pressure on the Kingdom Studios team. I want to start minting items, and I'm talking high powered items. We got to make sure that obviously we're being responsible stewards of the game, and we're not just like giving everyone like 100 greater crystals or 100 greater stones. But
Right.
I want us to start out with minting items that are that level of power. So do me a favor, help pitch Fight Club. If you've been doing games for us, talk it up in the chat. Tell Bolon, tell Hubert, tell Mr. Zipper, tell Sunbear, like, we want items. Let's get a hashtag we want items in Fight Club, something like that. Really looking forward to this. And to be fair, we've given them our requests, and we're still early in the phase of waiting to understand how this will play out. And I think they're giving us really good consideration right now. And why I'm saying is we want your help, promoting this. Time and time again, they keep telling us in the meetings, like, we want to allow people to build towards what the community wants. And so help us. That's my ask to you out there.
I couldn't agree more.
All right. So what else do we have to talk about? Is that the docket for tonight? What we got tonight?
I believe so. Yeah, we did it. I think we're right on par for our usual time.
Yeah, 50 minutes. It felt like we were speed blitz. We were doing a speed tournament through the whole thing here. All right. So power up strategy. We didn't really get into this.
Not really.
And you
Actually
mentioned that you were asking me, like, what's my power up strategy? What's yours?
Yeah, so I think, it's kind of interesting. They're very similar in my mind right now, the two. So either you recharge stamina faster or you gain more XP. Well, you use XP to get stamina. So, in my mind, I need to do the math before I really go whole hog on this, but my gut reaction is to get the XP. Um, but for the heroes that you care about XP, let's put it that way. If you don't care about XP, then I think you're going with the other route where you're going to go for the extra recharge of stamina rate so that you can get more quests in and get more profit. So it's kind of that mix of what are you trying to accomplish with your heroes right now.
And
If you're trying to accomplish material gathering, well, then you're going for the stamina.
And I was doing both with my heroes that I want to focus on. So that was kind of
fun. You can double power.
You can double power, yeah.
Ooh, I didn't even think of that.
I have selected 18. I've gone to the 18 level, and as you can see here on the screen, I only have 17 out of 18 and 11 out of 18 because I think you can't assign a power up during a quest or something like that. So I gotta jump back into this, but yeah, that's my goal. It's like I want to pick my favorite heroes and my big dogs that I think are going to potentially help me in the future when PvP starts to come out, and I want to get these guys powered up and going.
Yeah, and it's interesting. What I really need to think about too is, I want to really do the recharge on, like, say, your gardeners, like your number one gardener crew, right? You might get them back out there, but is it going to mess with the timers?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely will.
So there's a lot to consider here, guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of places this could go. It seems like and I don't mean this to be negative by any stretch. It seems like a small boost. And we are getting like no other boost before, so who am I to look a gift horse in the mouth? But I wonder what else is out there, what else they have in store.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it? I don't even know what to guess at this point. I think it'll be a lot of things like this where I think these 10-15% boosts for X, Y, or Z make a lot of sense. I don't think you're going to see anything which would break the game. So I think we all need to kind of keep that in mind too, probably.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we had planned for tonight. So 18 is the cap, right? Says Matty Pask. No, I think you can get more heroes than that. Yeah, Eric's here saying he powered up to 200 heroes.
Yeah, I could have done 40 some, but I haven't picked anything yet because I'm looking over all my heroes and trying to organize it and make it more efficient usage of power ups. But wow, it's a lot of work.
Eric's here in chat just saying Tad is so freaking smart. I agree. I don't. That might have been in context of the battle earlier, but yes, true statement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you to our amazing listeners out there. And we appreciate your patience with us getting podcasts out. We're trying to get back into the weekly cadence. So we'll get one going for you guys next week for sure. And thank you, and hang in there. And any closing remarks for yourself?
Not a lot tonight. Just yeah, enjoy the power ups and look forward to the. I feel like pets are close. I don't know. This bun stuff's driving me bonkers. I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, our guild, I absolutely love it, and we have like the Kels was cracking me out today. First thing in the morning, he like logged in. He's like, "There's another one of these images. Like, there's like these like stones or shadows that like look like buns, and they could potentially count, but we don't know if they count." I have not been participating in this beyond being a fly on the wall, so I love it.
Likewise, it's really fun to listen to though, and watch people track and paste in. We're all circling them all and posting it. It's pretty fun.
It's awesome. It's the sad part is like everyone in the guild is doing the work for us, and we're just that lazy. So that's it.
Uh,
All right. Well, have a good night.
you bet. Good night, everybody.